Closing the sale isn't what you think it is. Most reps glorify ABC, always be closing, or coffees for closers. Those tactics don't work, and more importantly, that's not how customers want to buy. Let me first talk about what closing the sale actually means, and more importantly, actionable strategies that you can begin using in your sales job today to sell more effectively over the phone and increase your number of won deals. I recently listened to Spin Selling, really great book. I would recommend you check it out. And they talk about how most reps get the definition of closing the sale wrong. You think closing the sale, okay, let me ask the customer, when should I ship you the order? Okay, I'm going to send you the DocuSign now. Are you ready to buy? It's applying pressure and trying to drive urgency in a transactional nature, which can work depending on the type of sale you engage in. Closing the sale, to me, means obtaining commitment to an action from the customer. Let me say that again. Closing the sale means obtaining commitment from the customer to take action. So first ask yourself, what type of sale do you actually do? Are you B2C, business to consumer? So for example, take Netflix, that's a software B2C business. You pay them $8 a month and you get access to their content library. Or are you B2B? Are you Salesforce? Are you selling a CRM, customer relationship management? Hey, $100,000 annual spend so that you can log into our computer system and try and close more deals. What type of sales process do you engage in? And Spin Selling talks about the B2C motion, the low value sale, the transactional in nature. You walk into a trinket store at Disney World, you see a little giraffe beanie baby and you say, okay, I'll spend 20 bucks on this. I don't care about anything other than the features. Okay, it looks cool. It makes me feel good. It will make a nice present. Boom, 20 bucks. You don't put much thought into it and you immediately make the sale. And in many retail sales locations, so selling shoes or even cheap insurance packages or maybe vacation packages as well, in B2C sales directly to consumers, you as the sales rep, you want to obtain immediate commitment and demonstrate all the features quickly, win quick, lose quick, and basically try and force them into a buying decision. That's been proved to be most effective. If you're in B2B sales like I am, when you're selling high ticket, more complex solutions, that's when closing the sale means a lot of different things. So as we think about a B2B sales cycle, it starts with doing your research. So who's your ideal customer profile? So what companies are you reaching out to? Who's your buyer persona? Who are the roles, responsibilities, titles within those companies that actually have problems that your solution can solve? Okay, let me begin to outreach to them. Let me cold call them. Let me email them. Let me do whatever it takes to gain their attention so that I can set up an initial meeting. And then on that meeting, we want to start to understand what do they care about? What are their problems? How can we help them solve them? And you want to obtain commitment from the customer throughout the sales cycle. So when I cold call a prospect, I set up a meeting. I understand that that first meeting is just, hey, let's talk about what you care about. Let me share how we can help. If we both agree there's alignment, let's continue the conversation. If not, we can part ways. Okay, so we have that first meeting. The next meeting, we may do a solution presentation. We'll give them a demo. The next meeting, we'll negotiate a little bit. And then finally, the last step in business consideration is the negotiation/close. And you're never really applying artificial sales tactics to try and get them to move. It's all about building value. So how do we sell more effectively over the phone to actually close the deal and build value? I have 3 strategies for you here today. Strategy number 1 is asking the right questions. Sales is all about asking questions, and the spin selling methodology is a great place to start. Spin, S-P-I-N, salespeople love acronyms, and each acronym is a category of questions that you can be asking. So the S stands for situational questions. So tell me how your process is working today. What are you doing today? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? P is problems. So what is not working about this? Why does this matter? Why would you change something now? The I is basically implication questions. So this is the hardest part of the sales cycle and where most reps struggle with because you're making implications. So let's say their problem is, well, we're wasting a lot of time through lack of automation. Okay, so as a result of having no automation, That means you can't get home on time. That means your business is losing money. What does it mean for you? You are asking implication-based questions given your understanding of their business and what you've heard from them. And then N in spin is needs payoff. So this is, okay, if we can solve your problem, what would that mean? Okay, if you can get home early, why would that matter to you? What is your hidden motivation as the buyer? How would this improve your business? Oh, you would mitigate risk? Okay, well, why does that matter? Tell me more. You want to understand their situation by asking effective questions. And each stage of the sales cycle, you will gain more access to more information while also adding value. And by doing so, that allows you to then make the ask for their time and say, hey, we want to include your leader. I want to bring on my executive leader so that we can bring everyone together at once. And that takes us into strategy number 2, is setting a clear objective. That takes us into strategy number 2, setting a clear objective before every meeting. Imagine a team of Navy SEALs. They don't just say, hey, go deploy to this location and go solve the world. It's not that. They have very clear objectives. They have missions. Everyone understands their role. So before any meeting with a customer, whether it's you're cold calling them or you have just a scheduled meeting with them, what is your objective for the meeting? This requires some critical thought. So if it's your very first meeting with them, you sell high ticket, complex software like I do that's very expensive, and you have to build value around problems. That's why questions are so important. Your objective may just mean continuing the conversation so that you can talk more about the problems. That's going from an initial discovery to doing more of a deep dive discovery. And in order to get them to that next deep dive discovery, you need to obtain their commitment and them agree that yes, their problem is worth taking time to continue talking about, and that they're willing to potentially even loop in one of their colleagues, or they're willing to share more information with you. So you want to set clear objectives before these meetings. So for example, in my software sales job, I work with all different types of industries. I have a big quota, and I have different deals in my pipeline that I'm working at one time, and each of these deals are at different phases of the sales cycle. One deal may be close to, we're hoping to close the deal and get commitment to move forward. One deal, we've just had a first meeting and we're going to do a demo. I want to set a clear objective, not an agenda. I want to set a clear objective before each meeting. So the objective of this meeting is to debrief after your leadership meeting to determine, okay, what is your budget? When are you able to move forward? And how do we get something like this done? So the objective is what's in it for me, but you also want to frame it in the context of what is in it for the prospect. So why are they showing up to your meeting? Okay, they've had that first call. They decide that they have a problem worth solving. Okay, they want to now see specifically how that solution will make their life easier. So set very clear objectives. Think about this and write it down before any of your meetings, before any of your phone calls, so you know what the objective is, so you're very clear to drive towards that outcome. And if you are not able to then get that outcome, be very rational and objective and say, why did I not get it? And that takes us into sales strategy number 3 that applies to the phone and closing, is call out the red flags with customers. When you're asking your questions, they will sometimes give you the information. Hey, what is your budget? You know what? I don't want to talk about budget. Hey, I'd like to set up another meeting to talk more about this specific problem, and I'd like you to include your boss on it. You know what? It's a little early to include them, and we're not quite at a place where we want to share the numbers around what our attrition is costing us. So you're seeing red flags here. They're not agreeing to your next meeting. They're not giving up information. So you need to call out the red flags. And the reason why this is so challenging is because you're seeking out a mini confrontation, and it's not natural to us as humans. Evolutionarily, we as humans, when we seek out conflict, we're at risk of basically being forced out of the tribe, the community unit. So we are programmed to avoid conflict. So when you get that anxious feeling, when you know that you have to make the ask to set up the meeting on the cold call, or you know that you have to say, we're going to set up a meeting on this date, I'm going to send you a calendar invite, you feel nervous. Whenever you feel that nervous feeling, run towards that, use that as a trigger, you're on the right path, and then take immediate action. So call them out and say, okay, well, the reason we are here today is to talk about how we can help you achieve X. In order to get to that point, I need to understand not just what features you're interested in, but why this matters to the bottom line. Can you help me understand that? And if they don't have a good enough reason or they don't agree to your next step, you don't obtain their commitment, ask them, well, why would we not meet again? Or do you see a scenario in which we don't speak again? Or, okay, you told me you have to meet with your internal team. Why is that important? When will you meet with them? Identify the red flags and call them out, because this will help you save so much time and energy, because you'll be working these deals with these prospects that will never actually buy in the first place. They're just dragging you along to feel like they're busy, and maybe they think there's something, but it's not actually going to go anywhere. So call out the red flags. Ask the right questions. In closing, in any realm of sales, life, personal relationships is all about gaining commitment, compliance. I can't force you to subscribe to the channel now, but that would be a serious red flag if you don't.